I like that you made us a little olive supper here.
Mm-hmm. Olives for days. I was on the phone to Sonny this morning, or whenever, and she was like, "Do you want me to pick anything up for the weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, olives for days." She goes, "But Dave's not come in."
Olives for days.
For days. Sonny.
So the plan was originally what? You called me. We had already been in the tanks once, and you said, "Dave, let's go back, and let's try to take a photo, develop it, and print." What was it? Your idea to print it and develop it in the tanks at first, or I don't even remember what exactly was your.
Yeah. So I'd been in Mallorca. Scrub that. I'd been in Fuerteventura. And I'd caught a really bad cold, which turned into a chest infection. And I'd come back a day early, or a couple of days earlier than the rest of the family, for work and everything. So I got home and I was just like, lots of pain, couldn't sleep. And so about 4 o'clock in the morning, I had this idea that it was coming up to our sort of yearly time to do a Scotland trip, or for you to
Meaning the second time.
Second time, yeah.
After the first time, it was just sort of assumed we'd do a second time.
For sure. So I was trying to speak and not cough everything, down the phone, but you weren't answering because you were in bed asleep. So anyway, then I started just leaving you voice clips.
Several
voice clips, because I was getting quite excited about it, and the concept that was coming through my germ-filled body
hackings
was two guys go into the tanks and we come out with one shot and we would shoot it on 4.5. We would dev the neg. We would dry everything off, and we would print the negative, because I knew that Intrepid were sort of working on their enlarger, their 4.5 enlarger.
Yeah.
So having seen some of their plans when I was down in Brighton with Keith, I thought, maybe that's a thing. Maybe we go into one of the harshest environments that I've ever shot in, and we try and do a fine art print. And then I had stopped the voice message, and then immediately afterwards I thought, gee whiz, we're going to have to probably stay in the tanks because it's going to take us a while. So then I just got on the WhatsApp again and I was like, Dave, 2 guys, 1 tank, print an egg, process a print.
I just remember you calling and getting all about having a disco party down there. Let's be honest. You might be imbuing that first call with some discussions we had after. Really what I think it was, Dave, we stay in the tanks, 2 guys, 1 photo, 2 men go in, 1 photo comes out, and then you call me back and you're like, okay, I've got a laser machine. You're dying. I've got a laser machine. We go in, 2 guys, 1 disco party.
We'll go mad.
We go mad. Yeah. I'll buy some me.
Yeah.
So anyway, we talked right after, and
you thought, well, yeah, that'd be great. I'm in.
Yeah, and so we planned the whole thing to stay over there, and we had been in there before, so we sort of knew what to expect, but we hadn't filmed before.
No.
And so originally we had lined up a camera guy.
Yeah, my bro,
his brother, who was going to stay there with us, who was down to camp out with us and do everything with us. And unfortunately, he got sick at the last minute.
Yeah, right at the last minute, he texts me and he's just saying, oh, dude, I'm not, not feeling 100%, I'm feeling pretty bad. And I thought, oh, no. So he was going to have to drive over, and it was going to be a bit of a drive for him. we were going to go into a harsh environment.
It's not a place to be sick in.
It's not a good place. So we thought, right, cool, knock it on the head. And then we were sort of frantically trying to get another camera operator. So
what 1 day before I left?
1 day before.
Actually, we were messaging people about that while I was
people
at the
were good
airport.
on Twitter.
Yeah, the community is great. But unfortunately, it was too last minute, so we had to do everything ourselves. So this plan to take a photo in the tank, develop it in the tunnels, print it in the tunnels, and then we had to actually film, do everything ourselves except for 1 hour when we had people who could stop by to help film. 1 hour. So for the entire week, we had a camera crew for 1 hour.
About 1 hour, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say because of that, largely because of that, everything took maybe 3 times longer.
Oh, yeah.
3 times longer than we expected. So we thought we could get a photo and a print before we went to bed. So we figured we'd end late, but then we'd get to bed in the tank. So we figured we'd end, 1, 2 a.m., go to bed, wake up, clean everything out. But no, instead we actually had to sleep over the tanks, and we didn't get a print the next day until nighttime, right?
Yeah,
it was
about
midnight.
10, something like that.
Oh yeah, 10. Yeah, about 10.
Yeah.
It was exhausting.
And we didn't really get to bed until about 2 a.m. the first day. So
the first day we didn't get to sleep till about 2 a.m.
Yeah. So even like getting up there, logistics, access to the tunnels, access to the tanks, is just horrific because, as Dave was just prepping and packing to come over, even a few days before that, I was, doing my end of things, which was, setting everything up there, getting all the equipment that I had up there.
Yeah.
And that was just entailing just multiple trips with a bloody wheelbarrow. But before I thought of the wheelbarrow, I was lifting everything. I look a flipping idiot.
Was it 25 liter jugs. So that's 25 kilos each, right?
Yeah, so
and
50k total.
And he calls me and goes, "Dave, what are those muscles up top? What are those your traps? Yeah, those. They kill."
Yeah.
It's like you walk the whole path with that weight. It's
about half a kilometer, isn't it?
Something it's pretty far. But then I show up. We get the rest of the stuff in with the wheelbarrows.
Yeah.
But we have to set up all the gear ourselves, all the camera gear, get prepped for filming, and it's just exhausting. And we looked through some of the footage. Right, that when we finally got back to your house, a few days later, and we looked through some of the footage, and the footage from when we were printing, which was the second day after we stayed up late, and we had been in there for 2 days straight, I was like, oh man, this is not in focus. We were exhausted. I'm looking at the footage and I'm going, with having to do everything, I just whipped on focus. And you're just going insane. You just can't focus on anything. And we're trying to do all this stuff. And the tunnels are so long and big that your lights will work great right near you, but then it's just darkness past. It's just so exhausting.
Yeah.
It's just tiring mentally, just being in that dark.
I think, to put it into perspective, going back to everything took about 3 times as long. I mean, it realistically, it did, because we were having to travel, the distance from the camera to where we were, to focus, and then we would think, oh, is it recording? Oh, have we got audio?
Simon, make sure it's recording. Simon!
And the stress gets to you as well. Another thing about the tunnels is we had really, varying temperatures. I mean, it was really cold in there, but on the day that we went up, if you remember, it was really warm outside. It was freakish. It was about 15 degrees.
Yeah.
Which is not right for this time of year in Scotland. So
it's disappointing.
it's disappointing, you know.
Stop buying gasoline.
Yeah. So we sort of experienced this high temperature outside, combined with a low temperature inside, which is where we're filming. So all our gear is cold, you know. But then we're filming obviously on digital. You have the sensor warming up.
The sensor heats up. We're in this. It's very damp in the tunnel.
Really damp.
And so your lenses and everything are super cold, and we just weren't counting on the fact that when...
Well, you opened your lens, didn't you? You said something's not right.
Something's not right because you're trying to clean it off. Because the problem is down there, everything gets a film of oil.
Yeah.
Everything is tacky. Everything is tacky.
Yeah.
So you just go, well, clearly we have junk on the lens.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, this isn't coming off. It's not looking in focus. And I open it up, and there's all this condensation on the inside because of the temperature differential. And I said, oh, the sensors and the cameras are heating up. It's so damp and cold in here.
Mm.
So we had to constantly take the lenses off, clean the inside. And we're trying to, meanwhile, take a photo, develop it. Then we're trying to set up a dark room in these abandoned access tunnels.
Yeah. I mean, even the stress of taking your lens off your camera in that environment is it's not good. So all of these factors were really getting to us, and you know, after a long week of it, you're kind of I'm exhausted. I'm literally at my limit now.
It was legitimately exhausting.
I mean, I would do it again tomorrow.
Maybe not tomorrow. I'd wait a week, month, maybe a year. We finally take the photo, and we legitimately only took one.
Yeah.
So if anyone's wondering, oh, did they do a couple of attempts? No. We only did one photo. We only had time for one.
Mm.
And that took almost an hour.
Yeah.
So we had the shutter open on the camera for an hour where I had to walk the length of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I had to walk the length of the tunnel and then flash at each interval. So about 4 paces. I would flash up, left, and right. So that way we exposed everything without using any lights in the shot.
And no Dave.
No Dave. So if you notice that, I actually tilted the flash in front slightly so it wouldn't cast me as sort of a shadow. So I tilted the lens forward, went up, left, right. But we weren't counting on the flash overheating.
Mm.
So the flash had enough battery power in it because we had a big flash with us, but it would actually overheat. And so 3 or 4 different times down the 250 meter.
It was actually about 6 times.
Was it 6 times?
Yeah.
I would have to stop, and would it take 10 minutes for it to?
What's quite striking about...
It couldn't be 6 times because it's maybe 5 minutes each time, maybe.
It was at least 6 times.
Because the whole exposure is about an hour, so it was about, because that would be half an hour of just waiting.
I don't think it took 10 minutes for it to reach out.
Yeah, it seems like forever because
Yeah.
we can't have any lights in there while the lens was open.
Mm.
Right, because the lens on the camera is open, so any light is going to show up in the photo. So when I'm waiting for the flash to recharge, I'm in the pitch black in the middle of this giant container, and we had radio, so I'm just talking to Simon and keeping him up to date with what's going on. But it's just pitch black, and so it just feels like...
The other thing to mention as well is when you're walking down the centre line, you can see the sort of close proximity you are to all of these heat elements that are sticking up. So, you know, with it being pitch black, all Dave has to sort of go on is the very, very quick burst of light that comes from the flash, and then you've got to sort of memorise where you are.
Yeah, so every time you hit the flash, I can actually see for a brief instant the entire sort of...
You've got about 5 meters of visibility, you know, really good visibility, don't you?
Exactly. So every time I hit the flash, I can just sort of see where I am in the tank, and I just use that to gauge how close I'm getting to the end. Because at the very end of the tank, there's the sump, which is still full of oil. So if I tripped into that, it would just be game over.
Yeah, and realistically, I care way more about getting the shot than having to leg it down.
I thought you were going to say care more about getting the shot than if I fall into a giant pit of oil.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I care way more about the shot than David's well-being.
Yeah, absolutely, because, you know, it's taken a long time. I know you could probably tread oil for a couple of minutes, maybe. But yeah, you know, it would be a pain in the backside. So our contingency plan for the, you know, if David fell into the sump was I would just close off the lens because he would have done the, you know, entirety of the tunnel, right?
Yeah,
So
I would have done it. He would have closed the lens and then ran to save me.
Yeah.
He would have saved the photo.
Yeah.
And then saved me.
Yeah, priorities.
So, yeah. So priorities: photo first, friend second.
Yeah. Because I would need to turn on some lights.
Yeah. Oh yeah, to get down.
So the lens has got to be closed. And again, to like close off the lens, you've got like this little lever that's just like so flipping fiddly. It's like, where is this thing? So you'd probably be dead, mate, if you.
I probably would have been dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have
bounced my head on the giant sump pipe.
Tipexed your name out of the disclaimer and everything.
Yeah.
Just run away.
Just forgot.
Yeah.
No one would know.
No.
I'd probably. And in that thick oil, I think I just.
Where's Dave?
Yeah, my body wouldn't start stinking.
You would turn into one of those decent guys from the Descent or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm about the Descent all the time. So the shot takes forever. Then we get out to actually develop it, and so the negative, you're doing all this stuff, and everything is dirty. So you're mixing your chems. And everything you touch just has a layer of oil on it, and you're not sure what to expect. And so we're developing it, and the first time we only took one shot, like I said, and you get nervous because I loaded it in the tank. What if I loaded it wrong? Because sometimes you'll load your sheets of film incorrectly in your tank, and if you do that, they'll stick to the side.
Yeah. Which is...
I love you.
I love you too. I love you. Yeah.
So stick to the side. You won't get your image. And you go, okay, Drax. But usually you'll have done a few shots. And so, are you opening the Patterson tank?
Yeah, is this the Mod 5.4 in here?
No, I don't think the Mod 5.4 is in it right now. I think it's just an empty tank.
Okay. Will we get the Mod 5.4? That be useful?
You we get it?
Yeah. Mm.
So this is what a sheet of film looks like before it's developed. You got your anti-halation layer.
Where did you get them from?
They were already in the Mod 5.4. I don't know why. Did you load this up? Were these shot on? Yeah. Really?
Yeah, really. Like they were the Fuji ones. No, they were the Acros ones.
You shot. Why were they in the tank? Just
because I was gonna dev them.
Oh. You asked me to get the Mod 5.4, so I pulled it out. I didn't know you would put stuff to dev in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's alright. So, what did we shoot on that? This was last year when you came over. So it's not Acros, it's FOMO.
This is FOMO
100 or 200.
You didn't even tell me you were in W's. You didn't even tell me you loaded these.
Yeah.
No, you did not. You didn't tell me you loaded them up. Anyway.
You were here when I was loading them. Remember?
I wasn't, no.
Uh-huh.
No, I wasn't.
Uh-huh. I was in Granny's Punch, remember? And we were talking about FOMO.
Anyway,
I said to get the Mod 5.4, so you've got it.
Yeah, you did tell me that. So without looking in a bag, you're trying to get the negative into this thing. But sometimes I don't know if they can even see. So sometimes you miss a line, or sometimes if you move the tank too vigorously, it can come out. And if this sticks to the outside of the tank, then this sort of layer, this green layer, won't come off.
Yeah.
And you have all kinds of issues in development. So of course I'm super nervous because we only did one shot, and we didn't have time or energy to do more.
Yeah, I like originally I was going to use another camera, like the camera Dactyl as a backup, but the way things were moving, it was so slow, and we thought, oh, man, we don't even have time to do a backup because we're not going to get this shot. We're not going to get dev. You know, everything was just taking far too long. So it literally was one shot.
Yeah. So we take our one shot, and then when you're pulling it, you're like holding your breath when you're pulling it from the Patterson tank. You just, because it's in here. You've been developing it.
There's more film in there, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So you're just pulling it out, and you just see that image, and you.
Yeah.
Now I think, unfortunately, it's so cold in there that while we started with our chemicals the right temperature, they got colder as development went. So the negative was a little thin, meaning it looks like it's underexposed, which it shouldn't have been based on our flash strength, and we had actually accounted for all that. But normally, when we've done this kind of stuff before, we've always developed at home. Yeah, at home where you can control temperature really easily.
Yeah.
And so I should have left it in a little longer.
Learning point.
Yeah, learning point. Just if you're in that cold of an environment, we were so tired at that point. It was midnight or so.
Yeah.
But I should have one of us should have realized, hey, this is going to drop in temp. We should leave it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing about all of this is, when we're doing these challenges or whatever, you're thinking so hard on so many different levels, so many things to consider, plus our own welfare. We haven't eaten very much, blood sugars, just tiredness,
He's got, Simon has type 1 diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah, you got the diabetes.
I got it.
He's got the diabetes.
But we got a power cut.
Oh.
Unless it trips again. Motherfucker.
Well, there we go.
It's okay, this is power cut,
Can
mate.
you talk again?
Well.
Okay.
Are you okay, Izzy?
Yeah, I just got a really big fight.
Oh, come here, mate. Come here.
So Simon's got the diabetes real bad.
Come here. Do you want to be famous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We just had a power cut.
yeah. So Simon's got the diabetes real bad, and so just of all the things, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We're on camera. Smile. So
Wow.
Simon's got the diabetes real bad, and
Real bad.
And so of all the things you have to manage, also just testing blood sugar count, making sure that you eat stuff when you need it, because you just forget to eat. What if? Do you want a green one? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we got all that to deal with as well, and then on top of that, Dave is just like a prima donna. Like, so when his for major high maintenance, when his blood sugar goes low, it's it's hangry all the way, isn't it?
I get pretty hungry. That's true. I do get pretty hungry.
Yeah.
Just I got all that muscle that needs filled with sugar.
Yeah.
Don't you roll your eyes at me.
What did you think about the tanks?
What time?
What tanks? The tanks that you've been in every bloody day after school. Just describe them.
They were dark, pretty
Mhm.
sketchy, and weird.
Pretty sketchy and weird. Yeah, I'd say that's really accurate.
What about, were they dirty? How dirty?
Really dirty.
Yeah.
So we're developing, and everything just has this sort of film on it.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of disgusting. But we got our negative. We're super excited. And we realized, so the plan was to stay in there until we had a print. And then we look at each other because we're starting to set up to print.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, where's the paper?
Yeah.
Now,
I'm
The roll of paper is 127 centimeters by 10 meters long that we got from AG Photographic.
Yep.
Which isn't far from here.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Oh no, so AG Photographics in Birmingham.
Oh, Birmingham. Oh.
So Matt had actually spoken to me on the phone a few times, and I'd run it past him, and he's like, "You're mental. What? You're mental. Why don't you just like shoot the neg and print it like at your home
controlled environment?"
And he's like,
anywhere else.
Am I missing something here? I says, yeah, we need it to be loaded completely, entirely against us, because we want to just do extreme photography. so let's go into the harshest environment that we can possibly think of at the moment, and let's do, a fine art print.
And there's sort of this thing where I've seen a lot of people, even online, who are hesitant.
I'm going to go right now.
You want to just stay here? You can stay here while we do this. I think it's cool. So there's this thing I've seen online a bit where people say they want to develop their own film, but they think they need better location at their house, right? They don't realize. So
it's in there.
Yeah, I mean, so with this Patterson tank, it'll allow you to pour chemicals in without getting any light in. You don't need a dark room to do your own developing.
No, sir.
You just need a bag to do everything in and one of these tanks.
What else is the bag known as, Isaac?
What?
You know the bag that I always put
Changing
Granny's
bag.
pants.
Say what?
Granny's pants.
Yeah, Granny's bag.
Granny's pants are a changing bag, yeah.
Yeah, changing bag.
And so I think also it's sort of nice to realize that if you're watching, maybe don't try printing this big.
Yeah, not on your first time.
No, definitely not. Maybe not even on your second. Yeah, third time. Wait till your third time.
Easy.
But it's doable sort of anywhere. We used Intrepid's enlarger, which actually uses the camera as the enlarger too. So we didn't have a separate enlarger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of nice to stack everything against us and get out with something this good because it does sort of say, hey, look, anyone can make this happen sort of anywhere.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest misconception in film photography for me. It's like, oh, film's really difficult to shoot. It's really difficult to understand. It's like, no, if you can just grasp, the sort of basic relationships between, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, you're good.
Even printing, projection is the same principle.
Exactly.
We literally use the same camera to make that print. Same lens and camera to project onto the paper to make that print as we used to take the photo.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the same principle, right?
Yeah.
So, for exposure and everything.
Cool.
No.
Right.
Another thing was this whole time because we're trying to manage everything ourselves. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to manage everything ourselves. Cool Film Club, based in the UK as well, right? Mm-hmm. Cool Film Club had sent us a bunch of 4 rolls of T-Max 3200, which is great for low light, to help out because we're both part of Cool Film Club, so they normally send out film every month to subscribers, and they sent us out these rolls just to support us, so we could take photos on 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
We could just shoot extra photos of the tanks and the location, which would be really cool, right?
Yeah.
If we had free hand.
Yeah.
But since we ended up having to film everything, we couldn't even take any extra shots. We only had time for the one shot in the tank. We couldn't take any extra shots. Not another photo was taken until 5 days later, maybe.
Yesterday.
Yesterday we were still in the tanks.
Yeah, so we had a local vocalist come up. She's amazing and has performed in the tanks a few times. So she's working on her own project that's going to be screening just slightly before ours, like a month before ours.
Yeah.
So her name is Lucy Treacher.
Yeah, so we had Lucy Treacher come into the tanks, and you were able to get off a few shots while...
Yeah, so I used the T90. And again, when you're just using so many different cameras, to be honest, I thought I was shooting on the Sony, and we had disabled the sort of shutter sound on the Sony. And then
we're audio recording in the tanks. Lucy goes, okay, guys, for this, you can't make any sound, no sound. And we're like, cool. And Simon's like, we're good at that.
Yeah.
You said that. We're good at that. We're good.
Yeah.
And so she starts recording. She starts her recorder. We're in these tanks, and with the longest echo in the world in a man-made structure.
You're
right?
making me sound really...
I just need to set it up. I need to set the scene. So he's like, we got this on lockdown. And then she starts recording, and she does her, and you hear the echo, and then suddenly you hear clang, clang, of the shutter. So we cut after that take, and I was like, Simon, maybe maybe not take pictures.
No, actually, what you said is,
No,
you cannot make any sound.
that's not what I said. No, I didn't.
You just said that.
You think I sing orders at you? Simon!
No, I'm just trying to make it sound better in my head.
Mm.
You're really, really harsh, man. So that happened. Don't mess my hair up.
Okay, it stood up.
Is it?
No. Did, meaning it looks good.
Okay, cool. I can't believe you did that.
So just nothing
was
went as
going
expected. Nothing went as expected. But so we only took one shot, right? I mean, that was sort of the idea. We only took one negative. But doing a print, we had never tried doing a print this large before, either of us.
No.
In a good environment, we had never tried. And
The biggest was that tetanus stuff. That
yeah,
we found in
50 by 60 centimeters. And so we had never tried doing a print this big in a good environment. And suddenly we were in a totally crappy one. And we're like, this seems like a good idea. Plus we're using fiber paper, which is really the high quality sort of paper that you'd use for actual fine art prints and everything. But that kind of paper actually requires a lot more washing, tons more water. It's just way more finicky. If you see the curls in it, we haven't even flattened it yet. So fiber paper needs flattened. We'll probably have to actually iron this.
I didn't even have an iron.
Yeah,
It just
Simon
moved in.
Simon doesn't even have an iron. So it's just going to stay like this. And so we decide to do all this. Everything's stacked against us. Nothing's going right. And we prepare to print, and we get the negative out, and it's like covered in like a fine fur, because everything in that place got covered in oil, and I'm not sure if oils were in the washing chems or something, but you saw
really
it. I've
weird.
never seen a negative that had like that sort of tacky. I think it's just wet in there. It's just damp in there.
It was horrible.
Just damp. No matter what you do, it's damp for days.
So because we had a power cut, I need to go and reset the boiler.
So anyway, our neg was minging.
Neg was minging.
Like, you can see... I don't know. Look.
What?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Lay it on the side. Camp stood up. Camp stood up. Oh, man.
What?
Thank you, Patterson, for sending us the tank, by the way.
Well done, Hamish.
Yeah. So you can actually see on this, there's...
Yeah. Oh, when I pulled the neg out of the enlarger today, I saw all that. And you can see it's kind of a brown tinge on it.
Oh, yeah. So I think this is just all gone from the tunnels. I mean...
It's just oil.
Yeah, it just... So it made it onto our negative.
It's aerated.
Normally in the darkroom, you won't have a negative this dirty to begin with, because you would have developed it in a good environment.
Unless you've dropped it a few times.
Do you drop your negs a lot?
Never.
Oh my gosh. Last time I was here, we did all this developing. Simon was like, yeah, I'm having things dry. And as soon as the negs were dry, they were just cutting everywhere. He's like, I cut the negatives. And then I just find them on like dining room tables, cutting boards, just everywhere. There's just strips of negatives. He's like, yeah, just leave them anywhere. So yeah, I'm surprised it's not worse. I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Not nearly as many hairs as I thought.
Well, that'd be in your hairs.
Yeah, my hairs get everywhere. Yeah. I was gonna cut it before this, and you're like, Dave, I love your locks. Keep them.
Yeah.
You did.
I did.
You ordered me not to cut my hair.
Told you.
Yeah, so everything just had a fine film on it.
So let's talk about, so we debbed the neg. We had a little issue where we forgot to bring the stop up.
Okay. Let's make sure we're recording for this one. Oh yeah, we're recording. So, in addition to forgetting the paper, so we forgot the paper. Oh, we never finished that. So we forgot the paper.
Forgot the paper.
We had to leave the tanks to go get paper.
Yeah, so we debbed the neg. Everything's good.
Started
It's
to
fine.
set up for printing.
Yeah.
And then realized we had no paper.
To get no paper.
There's no paper. We totally left the paper at the house. So we actually left the tanks sooner than we had expected, right? Before we ended with a print, just to go to get paper.
Literally back here, get the bloody paper, get back.
And get
the stop.
Stop.
Yeah, that we forgot.
Which is it's just vinegar.
Is it?
Well, okay. So we didn't have the luxury of getting stop when we went to develop the neg. And I said, look, we should stop this because stopping just
stops it.
Stops it.
That's what it's called.
Developer develops it. Stopper stops it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's chemistry.
Yeah. Don't stop. Okay.
So, developer, which sort of makes the image appear on the negative, right? Adds a base, right? And so stop is usually just acidic, so we can use vinegar for it.
Oh.
And the acidity actually cuts the chemical process of developing.
Yeah.
It stops it.
Is that why it's called stop?
I think so.
Okay.
Mind
Maybe they should have just said, like, pause.
Pauser? So we had to get the pauser,
Had to get the pauser.
but we totally forgot it. And Simon goes, I remember putting it in the wheelbarrow.
It was in the wheelbarrow.
It wasn't in the wheelbarrow.
No, I'm saying it was in the wheelbarrow.
So we needed something of a proper pH.
pH.
Yeah, pH. We need to put the P in pH. What?
Is it pH?
Oh, that's how you pronounce pH.
Yeah. So we needed that.
And in a pinch, I suggested that urine happens to be of a correct pH for stop back.
You did.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we had dev'd the neg. Everything was good. We went back to Nick. We came here. We got
the paper.
Got the big paper.
And we got stop. We got our vinegar and our stop. We also had some like actual stop chemicals and vinegar for the pools.
Yeah. So
because we need to stop the paper. It also makes your fixer last longer.
So then we have to track it back up the
we were tempted to sleep here when we came to get the paper.
I wasn't.
Oh, Simon proposed it. Yeah. You're like, do we?
That is bullshit.
Do we? You got all winky with me. He was like this. He doesn't even wink right. He's just getting all winky. I was like, we're not rolling cameras. Why are you getting winky? There's no one here. He got really winky. I was like, we're sleeping in the tunnels. We're doing this. And I did like 100 push-ups.
Yeah.
Just on the spot.
Whilst I was double backflipping.
Yeah.
And doing the Haryuken thing.
Yeah.
I was doing
he was Hadouken. Yeah.
So, because Danger Boys.
That's how we roll. So we actually went back. We slept in the tunnels.
Yeah.
We got up the next day.
So we were inflating, we were inflating the paddling pools, all that sort of stuff. We got a bed set up, and then I think eventually we got to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, about 2 a.m.
After we discovered all these massive spiders.
They were pretty big.
Bloody weapons, weren't they?
There's just so in the entrance of the tunnels, right by the door. It's sort of higher there, and you look up, and there were just some of the biggest spiders we've seen
ever.
And one of them was just chowing down on a centipede.
I freaked out.
It like made a hot dog out of a centipede.
But then it stopped eating it.
Yeah, and then they were just hustling.
Yeah. And then the centipede's like, oh, I can't really hit you.
Yeah.
And it just kind of curled up. And then the spider just wound its web about it.
Wound its web about it.
Yeah.
That's an allegory for something.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we did that. And then, so we did a bit of David Attenborough sort of,
Simon did his best David Attenborough.
It was really good.
Yeah. Planet Tanks or whatever.
Planet Tanks.
Yeah, you did Planet.
Episode 1, Spider Weapons.
Spider Weapons.
Spider Weapons. Per day.
Spider Weapons for days.
Yeah. So we did that, and then
Simon was freaking out. You couldn't go to bed for a while.
I was straight to bed.
Yeah, but you had trouble falling asleep.
Yeah, I did, because I was freaking out.
I had to read him 3 stories.
Yeah. In different languages. So even though you know there's nobody down there, there's no way that anybody can be down there.
But there's this big echo down the tunnel.
Yeah.
So it always sounds like people are chattering off in the distance.
Yeah. So even though there's nobody down there, I still moved the wheelbarrow across the sort of access. You know, like they do in Predator. They set like the booby traps.
No.
Booby traps.
Yeah.
Booby traps.
Towards enemy.
Yeah. So I did all
Wheelbarrow
that.
towards enemy.
Yeah, wheelbarrow towards the enemy. Did all that goony stuff, and then I'm trying to get to sleep, and then I'm like, this is a bit weird, you know.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep right away. I was so tired.
Yeah, you were tired. And then I fell asleep, and then we woke up. Nothing happened.
Nothing. It was very uneventful. People ask us, "How was it sleeping in there?" You're like, "Well, once you're asleep, it's sleeping."
It's just like you're sleeping.
Yeah, it's sleeping's like sleeping.
So, and then we woke up, and then we thought, oh, great, we're in the tunnel.
We had eggs.
There's shit dripping on us.
It's damp and cold.
We did have some bloody good eggs, though, didn't we?
Anything would have tasted good, but they were good.
Oh, so you're saying my eggs didn't taste
No,
good?
your eggs are great.
Alright. So we had eggs. We probably had some beans. Oh, but the night before we had beans, I forgot to bring
Someone
any of...
forgot utensils.
Yeah. Plates. Didn't have any plates. Didn't have any bowls. Didn't have any cutlery.
We just had our cups that we're drinking Armagnac out of. So we had to drink some beans.
So yeah, we had to drink some beans. So that was all good. So we drank beans, went to bed, woke up, got up, eggs, and we're back on track. Back in the room.
But we did a print. Wasn't perfect. What?
Was that a judo chop?
Yeah, it was a judo chop.
Don't show people that.
We got a first print.
Yeah.
In total, it took 3 prints to get to this one. We did a first print.
Well, they were just test strips.
Yeah, that's just a big test strip. So we do our first print after sleeping in the tunnels. So apart from having to go get paper and stop bath, we stuck to the plan of we won't leave really the tunnels until we get a print.
Yeah.
So the first print isn't perfect.
No.
But we were pretty
Oh,
happy
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Yeah. It's actually hanging up right now.
It is.
And we're pretty happy. And then we had to go pick up Isaac, your son, from school.
Yeah.
So that sort of cut that off.
Yeah.
And then we went back into the tunnels to do another print. But we didn't have a lot of time, so we thought we only had a chance for one more.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect again. And we just had enough time to go, and we got this one out, which we're very happy with considering the environment.
Yeah, so you not normally when you're printing or when you're taking a photo, you know, you should only really be changing one factor. You know, it's like a science experiment.
Oh yeah, so
You
either
change
you
one
change the
factor.
exposure, how long the light hits the paper, or with this kind of paper you can change contrast with filters, and the color of the filter changes how much contrast is in it.
Yeah.
But we didn't have time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as Simon says, normally you would work on one factor, you would get the right exposure, and then you would mess with contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dave sees the second sort of, you know, print come out, and he's like, no, we need to do this. We need to do split toning.
Split toning, yeah.
So split toning is where you do essentially 2 exposures, right?
Yeah.
So what we had figured was initially we'd gone for 60 seconds on the first print, which came out too dark, entirely too dark, which is something that I prefer, I like, and that's why I've kept that one. But, you know, essentially it's too dark. We lost some details.
Especially up here, you can't see where the roof hits the wall.
Yeah. So, you know, working off that, we had decided to reduce the exposure time to, 40 seconds for the
40
second one.
seconds.
So we had done that, and then we weren't happy with it either because, you know, it was slightly too much. It was, you know,
It was
underexposed.
It was too light, but I've noticed all these details that with our thin egg, we didn't even know were in there.
Yeah.
we can actually see where the wall hits the ceiling, which we didn't even think looking at the neg you could see.
Yeah.
And so I saw that and I go, we want to keep that detail. So we do the 40 seconds again.
Mm-hmm.
Then we hit it with another 10 seconds, was it? With the
yeah.
highest contrast filter. So that would just be enough with a high contrast to make some of these blacks pop a little more, right? So that's why you'd use split toning, so that I could get some depth out of the blacks without losing that sort of detail where the wall hits the ceiling.
Yeah.
And so we only had time for one more. So we're changing exposure time, we're changing contrast, but we only have time, so I just made an audible. I just said, hey, like, let's try this.
You just called it, and, you know, I'm quite happy to go with stuff like that because, you know, when you've been printing for a while, you just kind of, you know, you should be feeling things, you know.
Going with instinct a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you
and it's fine to make those decisions.
You build intuition on anything.
With big paper.
Yeah, with big
in
paper.
World War II tunnel.
Yeah, just, you know, so whenever you're in a World War II tunnel printing a giant photo, just, you know, go with your gut. I think that's the lesson in all this.
Because everybody's going to go down there now and do this.
Yeah, everyone's, no. Oh man, we're so tired. So let me just, so you want an olive before we sort of,
yeah.
I don't know, like, are there any takeaways? Like,
takeaways?
Yeah, like what's a major...
There's a chippy in town.
No.
Curry? There's a curry house.
Like, conclusions from this experience.
Oh! I'm not talking fast.
Not like takeout, no.
Oh, okay. I think for me, it's about pushing yourself. I've learned a lot by just being underground, you know, in the worst sort of environment that you could ever sort of imagine doing anything like this in. I've learned a lot, and you know, so a couple of things that I've learned. Preparation.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I had it in my head that we needed this amount of gear, this is where we kind of wanted it, you know, logistically, we need that down there, we need this there, But then as soon as I've done that, literally as soon as we start shooting, everything changes because we don't have a camera operator.
We don't have a camera operator.
So all changes. So, you know, you can plan, but some things, you know, you can't plan for. After that, it's just trying to keep everything as clean as you possibly can. So you may not want to really sort of wear cotton gloves in the darkroom, but you should.
Yeah.
You know, it's just about making the negative as perfect as you absolutely can in terms of light metering. Obviously, you know, I mean, do you even want to sort of describe how we light metered in there?
No, I mean, we just did a small test with the flash to test the flash power.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like a multiple exposure, right? Because I'm flashing each section separately. So you know, okay, if this flash meters correctly off this wall, at the aperture, you know, how open we have the lens on the camera, we know, okay, well then it should be perfect the whole way down because it's the same flash.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, it's not always obvious. And then even though I think we had metered and had the flash set up correctly for our lens setting, even that, then our chems got too cold, right? Yeah. And so the negative ends up being thinner than you want anyway, right? So there's just so many factors in getting it right. And so I think for me, it's just, even in these environments where we're totally stressed, I can't focus a film camera, a video camera. I can't focus a video camera to save my life because we're so tired. You just have to slow down and think everything through, because even things you think you know, you're just going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And so maybe if in development I just slowed down and said, okay, hey, Simon, let's think this all through, one of us would have gone, oh, hey, our chemicals temperature is going to drop off. It doesn't mean we have to be super scientific about it. It just means one of us had to say, hey, let's add 2 minutes to our dev time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what it would have looked like.
And then we've got a perfect negative.
And then we have a perfect negative. So really, these things, we did it in the worst possible environment.
Yeah.
And clearly it's doable.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just,
Well, it's here, isn't it?
yeah, it's just, you have to really slow yourself down and think about it. People like to say film photography slows them down. I don't know that that's true. I think we slow ourselves down. Whether I shoot digital or film, I don't shoot one faster than the other personally.
Really?
Yeah, no, honestly.
Well, that's interesting.
Because I think there's some things I do, even with, the double exposures and the trick photography I do on film, that would take longer for me to do digitally. I could do it digitally with Photoshop, but actually doing it in camera is quicker.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I have shots where if I did this in Photoshop, I would have had to take a bunch of digital photos and choose the best one, and it would actually take it longer. So for me, the whole slowing yourself down it's just this active, hey, what are you trying to do? Think it through. Don't rush yourself.
I think, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, what I'm picking up from you is that you understand all of the equipment, you understand the tools, you understand the equations and the relationships between, the essential elements, the basic features. And once you have that, and that comes from practice, it absolutely does.
There's this mistaken notion that intuition means something you're born with a priori. You build intuition. Studying mathematics, I learned this, right? There are things that aren't intuitive initially, but after you study them, you gain this intuition. So sort of like you were saying with changing exposure time and split toning, we have intuition for printing because you've done it enough and you actually build this intuition so you can make a call without actually looking at the strict numbers of anything. And it's sort of the same thing when I studied mathematics. There are maybe n-dimensional space where you're talking about, a space that has more than 3 dimensions. That's not intuitive at first, but you can actually build intuition to solve problems in...
You've learned a basic. And then...
So then when you deal with something with 10 dimensions, it's not so crazy. You actually have built this intuition. Right? Intuition is something you can build. And I think in photography, just like anything else, you just need to take time to really think about everything that's going on to build that intuition. So when something unsuspected happens, you can compensate for it on the fly. Right? Without having to go to your phone or to the internet. Because in the tunnels, we didn't have any reception.
There's nothing.
So you can't go and, hey, can I check this? Let me go to a forum, right? This is just, what do we know? What knowledge do we have going in?
You're taking everything in that you know, and you're
trying to come out with a print.
So. Another thing that was really difficult in terms of printing was finding focus. At this point, when we were ready to, try and sort of focus the the enlarger on the print or on the easel as it was, you're having to hold your breath because if you breathe, you've contaminated the mirror that's on the focus finder.
Because it's so humid and cold in there. It's so cold in there that every time you breathe, the focus finder, your breath would create.
So the way we focused was, one of us was on the focus finder, one of us was on the Intrepid enlarger, and you're tweaking.
Just ever so slightly.
So the way we did that was, it happened. I was on the focus, initially. So that, you get to within where you look at the image, you look at the easel and you think, that's pretty good. So then you have your partner or whatever go in and look down to find focus, to find the grain. And then, so I'm saying to Dave, move it away. So it goes away, and move it back, it goes back. And then I've breathed all over the
focus finder.
The focus finder. I'm like, scrubbing it off. So we go again. So you can see it just takes ages.
Yeah.
But we nailed it. Look at it.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. So would you say that one shot Inchindown is a success?
One shot, Inchindown, raging success. Raging success.
So, raging success.
We're done. Scotland raging.
Scotland raging success.
Yeah.
So, where are we going next?
Hawaii.
I think Hawaii. Let's
I'm
go to
going
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Let's do one shot Hawaii.
One shot Hawaii in the lava tunnels.
You want to do a dark room in lava tunnels?
Why not?
I think that's.
It'd be warmer.
Yeah.
You can
Heck of
join
a lot
the
warmer.
friend, you know?
Okay. Dark room in lava tunnels.
Mhm.
You heard it here first, folks.